Okay, first of all, greetings from Greece. I'm sure there is a big interest about the developments in Greece with the election of SYRIZA. But the first thing I want to say is that what's happening in Greece is not a Greek phenomenon. The crisis of capitalism is global. It affects every country. And all countries are going in the same direction, but with different speeds. Well, in Europe, Greece was the weakest link, the weakest economy, and it has suffered in a way the most. The GDP from the start of the crisis has collapsed more than 26%. This is the worst recession since the third worst recession after Canada and the United States in the 30s. This is a big collapse. It happens mainly to countries that have suffered a war or something. And this has an effect on the living standards of the workers and the poor people in Greece. After 7 years of crisis and austerity, the living standards of the workers in Greece have been shattered. We have 4 million poor. There are 400,000 households that don't have any income in Greece. And it's a social situation that it's common now to see old people searching in the garbage for food. On the other side, there is a growth in the very, very rich in Greece. 10% of the wealthiest in Greece have increased their wealth during the crisis. The Greek ship owners that are the richest and most powerful capitalists in Greece pay almost no taxes. For example, the ship owners pay 15 million in taxes, while the workers working in the ships pay 55 million. So there is a sharp polarization between the poor and the wealthy and the rich. So there is this has created an atmosphere of anger against the rich and against the whole establishment. For 3 years now, this has expressed in a way in a very big anger against the politicians and against the police. For example, the politicians of the old parties for the last 3 years didn't walk around freely in the streets without any police for fear that a stranger could attack them. So there is a huge effect in the consciousness of the poor people. The crisis had a very huge effect, which in the previous periods, this was expressed in very big struggles. In Greece, we had more than 30 general strikes. We had big demonstrations in the squares, as some might remember. All these social struggles were defeated, mainly because the leaders of the trade unions and the left parties didn't give a specific goal. For example, in the strikes that we had, general strikes, they were just 1 day mainly. 1 day general strikes, 48-hour general strikes, and the leadership didn't put forward an all-out general strike to throw down the government and give a political solution to the workers. So all these fights were defeated. So in 2012, the workers turned to the political field, tried to find a political solution, and they supported SYRIZA, which was then a very small party of 4%. But in 2012 elections, SYRIZA for the first time said that we needed a new kind of government, a left government, a political solution to the problems. And SYRIZA called for all the left parties to make a front to have a left government. And this inspired many people, many of the youth and the workers. And we had the first rise of SYRIZA from 4% to like 20, more than 20. And after this, SYRIZA became a pole of attraction for many workers, and for a period we saw the polls, the SYRIZA rising in the polls, until we had the elections that SYRIZA won with a very big result. The elections were a big blow to the capitalists in Greece, which are really now in a very bad position. New Democracy, the main party of the right, lost almost half of its electoral forces in comparison to the past. PASOK, which was a very strong party, has almost collapsed, has almost disappeared. A few years ago, New Democracy and PASOK had more than 90% of the vote. Now they got only 32%. And other small parties have also disappeared. So the main goal of the capitalists in Greece before the elections was to reduce the difference with SYRIZA as much as possible and prevent SYRIZA from getting an absolute majority. The idea was that if SYRIZA had not taken a full majority, they could put in all other small parties, right-wing parties, and control the new government. But SYRIZA got a very big result, almost got absolute majority just by 2 seats, 2 MP seats. It would have absolute majority in the parliament. So it formed a coalition government with the independent Greeks. Unfortunately, because independent Greece is a right-wing party, a small right-wing split from New Democracy that opposed the memoranda. But in all the other points, it is a right-wing party that has no programmatic comparison with SYRIZA. That's why the communist tendency of SYRIZA was against it. So the workers in Greece voted massively for SYRIZA. It was really a vote from the poor, the unemployed, and the youth. More than 50% of the unemployed vote for SYRIZA. The youth vote for SYRIZA. In the age between 18 and 37, SYRIZA got 42%. In all the big cities, the working class neighborhoods, we saw SYRIZA getting more than 40%, while New Democracy got less than 20 or 15%. New Democracy, on the other hand, got big percentage on the areas of the more rich areas in Athens and other big cities, where it got more than 55%, while SYRIZA got less than 15%. So, comrades, now we have a new government that has put forward what is known as Saloniki program. It's a series of reforms like the return of the minimum wage to 750 euros, the return of collective bargaining, the rehiring of all those workers that were sacked from the public sector the previous period, the increase in the pensions, the stopping of the privatizations, and the haircut of the debt of the poor families, reduction of taxes and others. For the first time since many years, after the elections, the government guaranteed that all those measures would be put forward and that the government would not retreat. And this has created a very big enthusiasm to the workers and the poor people. The average worker is thinking that for the first time he has a government that is supporting him. So the government gets very big support in the population. 72% of the population supports the government at this stage. So after the announcement of these reforms, there has been, on the one hand, from the workers a big enthusiasm. On the other hand, from the capitalists, there has been panic and attacks. The media in Greece, many of the private media are attacking the new government. Okay. Okay. So, and we have also the attacks from the EU officials that say that Greece has to return to the memoranda policies, to go on with cuts that New Democracy was doing, and abandon all the program of Saloniki that has announced. This, of course, creates a big problem. This government was elected to impose this program, and now the European Union demands that it must abandon it. So, where is the democracy in such a method? The state bureaucrats have said that without a deal with the European Union, the new government cannot survive for much longer, because there are no money. If the government will continue to pay the debt regularly, it has to get a new program, in reality, a new memoranda. In March, the Greek state has to pay 4.6 billion for the debt that it doesn't have, and by the summer they have to pay another 8.8 billion. In total, they have to pay in 2015 22 billion that now the state doesn't have. Moreover, there are many other big problems, like the situation of the Greek banks that are in a terrible condition, and they need support from the European Central Bank in order to survive. SYRIZA government seems to put up a fight with Merkel and with European officials at this point, but they have nothing really strong to negotiate with. The program of Salonika depends heavily on the fact that the European Union will continue to give money, so SYRIZA could implement social policies. This, of course, is not going to happen. EU officials have stated many times that in order to keep giving money, Greece must be in a program, i.e. to go on with more austerity. And this is also the term for the European Central Bank to continue to give money to the Greek banks. So the government hasn't got any other than two main roads. The first road is to capitulate completely and say to the Greek workers that we could not negotiate with the European Union, we have to get back to austerity, or to have a head-on collision with European Union officials, the right wing and the European capitalists. In order to do this, we must take under control first of all the banks. Greek state has given to the banks more than 200 billion euros, more than 10 times what they're really worth. And this money are more than enough to have bought the banks many times in reality. So the SYRIZA government must expropriate the bankers. Second, they must stop paying the debt, a debt that has been created not from giving pensions to the Greek pensionists or salaries to the Greek workers. It has been created from huge money that have been given to the Greek bankers, the Greek ship owners, from money that the Greek capitalists are not giving. Also, the Greek government must now nationalize the biggest companies in order to take the real power, which is the economic power in Greece, and start planning the economy in a way to organize, in a way to that the workers in Greece need. Anyway, sorry for my bad English. This is what the communist tendency of SYRIZA fights for. We have put forward a socialist program. That's the only realistic program. There are two, I think, realistic programs in the state of capitalism in Greece now. First of all, it's the program of austerity, the program that Samaras was implementing, and then it's a program to fight against capitalism, to expropriate the big bankers, the big capitalists, and organize the economy. So, what are the perspectives now? SYRIZA leadership, I think, moves on with some, in a way, with a belief that the European Union will give something to the Greek workers, will allow some reforms to be made, but this is not possible, especially because at this point there are much more bigger problems for European capitalists. We have the rise of Podemos in Spain. We have the rise of other left parties, and if the European Union gives money to Greece to go on with reforms instead of austerity, then it will be a signal for the rise of left governments everywhere, and this they cannot accept. So there will be a war. There is already an ultimatum that if you don't go on with austerity, we will stop funding. And so SYRIZA has now only two roads, the road of struggle and the road of capitulation. The communist tendency wants for SYRIZA to go to the road of struggle, the road of collision with big capitalists. So, we are, communist tendency is a tendency that puts forward this program. We participate now in all the big struggles to support the measures, the reforms, even the smallest reform the government is putting forward. But we say in order for these reforms to be sustainable, to be solid, and not to retreat, we have to add more radical reforms, like what I said. So that's it.
Okay, very good.
So sorry for my